Now, I want to turn to the $40 trillion green technology boom and what it means for you, because I think this is an incredibly exciting time for any organization that fits into this picture, and your strategy surely does. Now, we're going to look at some data. Some of that data may be contested and debated by different people. But you know what? The data, for example, about global warming is simply a best guess about what the world might be like in the year 2100, by which time most of us won't be here. If you want to know the future of your corporation, if you want to know the future of government policy, if you want to know the future of taxation and incentives and consumer pressure, then we need to look not at the best guess about what the science shows by 2100, but we need to look at the passions people feel and the beliefs they have about the data I'm going to show you, and ask ourselves a question about whether those passions are getting stronger about the data or whether they're getting weaker. Let me have a look at a few things. Firstly, there never will be so many children alive ever again, probably in human history, but all of them will be adults in the next 18 years, and all of them will see your lifestyle in one way or another, even if it's in someone else's smart and fast car driving through their poor rural village where they're living in mud huts. And all of them will aspire to some kind of development, and many of them will get it. And this single fact alone will drive many of the pressures we are going to see on resources. Coupled with a second fact, which is we're seeing the biggest migration from remote rural areas into cities that the world has ever seen. I was talking to some friends from China last night. And you know what? In Africa, we're seeing similar. In China, 300 million people will move into cities by 2020. More people than today. All of them will demand your kind of infrastructure. In India, we will see some 430 million people move into cities in the next 10 or 12 years. Once again, placing unimaginable stresses and strains on infrastructure, because most of them will arrive to create shanty towns and slum-type dwellings, and then the infrastructure will need to catch up. Here is another fact. Now, we can debate its significance, but in the United States alone, and the same is true of the European Union, last year it is thought that if we were to capture all the carbon dioxide emissions from all activity in the United States, and again the same in the European Union, and laid them out on the entire land mass of the world, we would land up with an additional blanket around this thick of carbon dioxide across every centimeter of land mass. Does it matter? That's a different question. Here is another interesting graph. This is a series of ice core samples in the ice going back around 430,000 years. And in the red, you see CO2 levels. I just want you to notice pretty big changes. Now, when they got down to, the last time they got down to this low, most of the area of Germany was covered by half a mile of ice, okay? Just to put it in this context. That at the moment, we are off the edge of the highest limit that has ever been seen by any of the ice cores. And by the way, we capture carbon dioxide in these ice crystals. When you defrost these ice crystals, you get a measure of how much carbon dioxide there was in the atmosphere when those ice crystals were created, okay? Now, I can't tell you the significance of this. All I can tell you, and I'm a physician, is that carbon dioxide is a very important gas, and in fact the level inside your body changes your physiology hugely. If I increase for 5% just your carbon dioxide levels in your blood, you'd know all about it. You'd be gasping for breath. Carbon dioxide is a very important gas. Just look how much it's risen in the last 30 years, from there to there. I can't tell you what that means. I have no idea what that means for the future of humankind or climate. I have no idea. I can tell you what some people think. My question is, how much higher do you think that red line's going to go? What do you think? Looking at its trajectory at the moment. What do you think? Put your hands up if you think it's going to go outside the range of this slide in the next 30 years. Okay? Put your hands up if you think it could double again the distance that it's gone above its medium level there in the next 100 years. Put your hands up if you think that could be very significant for climate change. Now, some of you are laughing, but I tell you, it's perfectly permissible to have a wide range of views about this. But the important thing is this, not what your view or mine is. For the future of strategy, the important question is another one. 400,000 square miles of Arctic ice melted in 30 years. Does it matter? Here is another fact. In China, in 20 years, 18,000 square miles of ice melted. 3,000 out of 4,000 Tibetan lakes just disappeared. Yellow River dried up recently for 6 or 7 months. Does it matter? It surely does. Here's another fact. When oil prices go above $100 a barrel, you have the most compelling case for a whole range of intensive energy-saving measures that do not make business sense otherwise. The fact is that the oil price today is $123 a barrel, and the oil price has remained above $100 a barrel for over 365 consecutive days. Put your hands up if you think, as a result of commodity pressures, demographic pressures, emerging market growth, that the oil prices are likely to stay above $100 a barrel for most of the next decade. Put your hands up if you think that's true. You now know what the strategy is of every one of the companies around the world when it comes to energy, which is whether they think going green is morally right or not, it's certainly a very good business logic.